football night in America, served by Applebee's.
Welcome to our recap of Week 10, and guess who's with us in the studio? Mike Florio.
Hey, Mike.
I got to come every week if the games are exciting as they were today.
And if the Vikings continue to win, which is where we're going to start. But yeah, that's Florio, Tony Dungy, Jason Garrett, Maria Taylor. We're all here with you. And let's start with the Vikings and the Bills. An overtime game that had a little bit of everything. We had turnovers in the red zone. We had fumbles. We had games that we thought were over, and then they weren't. What's the biggest takeaway from the way that the Vikings really never relented and found a way to win this game?
And you said it. They don't relent, and we've seen it all year. Other than the first game against Green Bay, which they won fairly easily, and their loss in Week 2, these games that they're winning, they just find a way to fight through adversity. And Patrick Peterson told me that they believe it now. They just expect it. They know somebody's going to step up and make a play. And I think what happens, Coach, from the standpoint of the Vikings, they feel confident in those moments, and then the opponents are going to start to be thinking, here it comes. It's going to happen. It's going to bite us some way, somehow. When you see all these crazy things happen, you're just expecting the roof to cave in on you.
Well, from my time with the Vikings, I still have some ties there. And last year, the last couple of years, it hadn't been a great atmosphere in that Vikings locker room. The minute Kevin O'Connell came in, things changed. And they have a feeling. They believe in him. He has rallied the troops. He has them believing in themselves. Their culture and their attitude right now is nobody can beat us.
Maria asked me earlier today when we're watching the games, is your favorite quality in a player relentlessness? And it is. Relentless means don't stop. Keep coming. And that's what they've done. They've been behind in all these games. I think you're exactly right. There's a belief, there's a quiet confidence, and a calm. But the biggest takeaway for me is this was Buffalo in Buffalo with Josh Allen as the quarterback. This isn't some of the teams that have been struggling that they're coming back against. This is one of the best teams in the league. And they didn't blink down 17. They made the plays when they needed to. And credit to the leadership of O'Connell and their quarterback, Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, and you saw it in the graphic there. They have faced 5 straight fourth-quarter deficits and still found a way to win during that 7-game win streak span. But also, we kind of saw it with big plays. We saw Justin Jefferson going up and making an unbelievable, all-time great type of catch. Patrick Peterson had to have a couple of those interceptions. So it wasn't like just the offense or the defense. It was like everyone had to find a way to step up.
You know what I'll go back to, though? Kirk Cousins doesn't make it on fourth down, and there's less than a minute to go. Most defenses would go out there and just say, you know, hey, they're going to run. They went out there with the idea, we're going to come off the ball and get a safety. We're going to do something. They were trying to win the game, and it worked.
This was the 2022 version of the Pisarcik play, if you will, right? I mean, years ago, they have no chance. It's a quarterback sneak. Somehow they cause a fumble, they get the ball, and they go score. And, pretty amazing day for the Vikings.
And, Coach, I'm glad you mentioned that because I saw Elias Sports pointed out it was only the second time since the merger that a team trailing in the final minute won the game, or at least went ahead, didn't win in that spot, but went ahead on a defensive touchdown. The other one was the Pisarcik gaffe. This was completely different, and it just really is amazing. They just find a way.
Well, speaking of gaffes, let's go to the Bills side of this. I mean, if you're dealing with, okay, what keeps happening to us? What are we succumbing to? This is a team that came in with a lot of expectations. Everyone expects to see them in the Super Bowl. Josh Allen has had a turnover in 8 of the last 9 games. What is the biggest issue you think that's plaguing the Bills right now, Coach?
I just think it's second-half mentality of maybe trying to be too aggressive, not finishing games, and we saw it when we were up there. We saw them, even though they won the game, Green Bay came back, made it a game in the second half, and we've just seen these second-half meltdowns. Something I learned a long time ago about players is sometimes your greatest strength can be your greatest weakness. I'm not so sure there's a player I like more in this league than Josh Allen. I mean, just watch the guy play. His competitive spirit, his leadership, his toughness. I mean, there are so many wow plays that define his intangible qualities beyond his physical qualities. But sometimes that can get him in trouble late. He's going to make the throw. He's going to make the play. I've been saying this all year long. They get in trouble when they don't spread the burden around. When he has to carry the city of Buffalo on his shoulders, it becomes hard. It's the NFL. The other guys are good too. They got to keep trying to spread it around, get the runner involved, take a little bit of pressure off of him so he doesn't have to do it all in these situations.
My concern, and this came from talking to Patrick Peterson, and he broke down both of the interceptions he had. My concern is they need to do some self-scouting because they've got some tendencies that people are picking up on film. because the way Patrick Peterson explained what he did, it was all from film study and understanding what the Bills do, understanding what to do in a given moment. Now, not everybody's going to have the skill that Patrick Peterson has, but if those breadcrumbs are out there in their film and they're relying too much on Josh Allen and not going the extra mile to always be trying to make the offense unpredictable, you just can't rely on Josh Allen to save your butt every week. And I think they do. I think, to your point, they do that too much.
Mike, let's go back to Peterson's first interception. It's 27-17. It's 4th down at the 4-yard line. Kick the field goal, go up 13 points, and make them score two touchdowns.
They think they got Superman. So let Superman go fly, and he, flies into the building.
So Allentown, it obviously didn't hold as the Vikings, they come into Buffalo, get the win. It was a snow day, literally everything you could have wanted in a Week 10 matchup. We saw it all. But we also have to talk about what we've been able to see down in Miami, because the Dolphins are rolling. They haven't lost a game if Tua Tagovailoa starts and finishes the matchup. They rolled up 491 yards of total offense. I mean, it's just impressive. And we were calling out guys like Alec Ingold, Trent Sherfield, we didn't say Jalen Waddle got for a touchdown or into the end zone. But it's impressive how much they've spread it out with all these different weapons, and the offense is finding ways to find balance.
Mike McDaniel has done a great job. He has installed this offense that utilizes everybody, does what Tua does well, and the amount of pressure they put on you with the run-pass options and the quick passing game, it's pretty incredible.
For all their great games this year, to me, this was their most impressive on offense. Cleveland came in with the idea that we're not going to let those two fast receivers beat us with big plays. So Mike McDaniel and Tua said, okay, fine, we're going to throw it underneath. We're going to get other people involved. We're going to run the ball. And then in situational football, when we get down in there close, we're going to cash those drives in. And they did it.
And he's been outstanding. You see the stats there just every week. 300 yards, high percentage passes, taking care of the football. Now, the only question I have, can this translate into December in New York and New England?
They look great
Buffalo?
in Miami, though.
Yes, when you've got to handle that ball and make those throws in cold weather.
And also, at some point, and maybe they'll never get to this point, at some point, Tua's going to have to make a big throw in a big spot into a tight window. It's not going to be as mechanical and formulaic as Mike McDaniel's doing. At some point, it's like Jimmy Garoppolo. At some point, you're going to have to make a throw with the season on the line, and we'll see if he can do it. I'm not saying he can't. I'm just saying at some point he may have to.
Kind of like if you get called into the national championship game and you say, okay, go throw the game-winning touchdown.
Yeah.
I bet on this guy, not against him.
Yeah.
If it's warm weather, I'm betting on
Or a dome.
I want to see him when it's windy in Buffalo, when it's windy in New England. We'll see.
Tua has thrown 10 touchdowns, 0 interceptions since he returned from the injury, and so we'll see if this continues. Let's talk about the other overtime game that we had in Week 10. It was the Packers, and it was the Cowboys, and finally Aaron Rodgers and the Packers are able to snap that 5-game losing streak with the win against Dallas. Coach, you thought this kind of came down to a decision made in overtime. 4th and 3, take me back there.
Well, yes. Now you're Mike McCarthy. You've got a decision. 4th and 3, it's going to be a long field goal. Do you try to make it? Go ahead. If you miss it, they've got great field position. Do you put it in your offense hands and try to march it down and score a touchdown? Or do you punt them back deep? As a defensive coach, if I'm not going to kick the field goal, I'm going to try to punt them inside the 10-yard line, let my defense work.
Yeah, and my only response to that would be maybe my defense hasn't played quite as well today.
That could have been on his mind.
And it was a good formula for Green Bay. They ran the ball. They ran it 39 times, and they threw it 20 times. That's the approach to slow down this Dallas defensive front and quiet the game down. And early on, Dallas was up by a couple touchdowns. They stuck with it, kept making some plays in the running game, some big chunks in the passing game. I think that might have factored into it. I'm still surprised he didn't kick the field goal because Brett Maher has been a really good kicker, and he's kicked 50-plus kicks. That's what he's done throughout his career. So it was an interesting decision.
All the time. Run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. ESPN Stats and Info tweeted that the Packers ran, by design, 62% of the time, the highest rate ever with Aaron Rodgers as the starting quarterback, and they did play action on 52% of the dropbacks. So when you're running successfully, you can do play action and set up the shots down the field.
Had a really good plan against that Dallas aggressive front. They kept them under control and played well. And that's what they're going to need to do to win.
Do we have concerns about Dallas's defense? I mean, it's kind of been spectacular this season, but they gave up the most points and yards against the Packers. Are there any reason for concern after what we saw Week 10?
You know, there's still a very good defense, but if you can run the football, and we've seen that from a couple of people. Philadelphia had the same plan, and Green Bay had that plan today. If you can run the football and slow that front down, you have a chance.
Yeah,
to the ball.
that is the chance that you have. Hammer them, make them run defenders first. I also don't think they're quite as good on the grass up in Lambeau. They're not quite as fast. When they go back down to Dallas and AT&T, it's like a track meet down there with those guys up front. So I think that's a factor as well.
Or to Minnesota next week, which all of a sudden is a huge game because the Cowboys are going to be even more motivated to win it.
Yeah, Cowboys right now sitting at 6-3. And like you said, next game will be against Minnesota. Let's play a game of fill in the blank. We'll start with you, Florio. Blank is the best team in the AFC.
Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City Chiefs. I picked them to get to the Super Bowl. Of course, I picked them to beat the Colts in the AFC Championship. We won't mention that half of it, but I still believe in the Chiefs.
Could be coming. It could be coming. I'm going to go with Mr. Florio and say Kansas City, too. I was on Buffalo's bandwagon before, but just these second halves have got me concerned.
Same. Love the Chiefs.
Okay. The Bucs beating the Seahawks in Germany was?
Exactly what I expected. Super Bowl atmosphere, big game. Tom Brady shows up, and now here they are with a one-game lead and the tiebreaker in the NFC South. They're getting into the playoffs. They're going to win that division, and they're going to be trouble for whoever they face in January.
Yeah, they're healthier. Their defensive stars back in the lineup, running the ball a little bit better. This is the formula that they need.
Yeah, it's the second step. The first step was beating the Rams. This is the second step on their road back, and they're a different team. When they got those guys on defense, he's got his complement of receivers. They look good, and they look like they were playing with confidence today.
To be fair, you guys didn't fill in the blank, but we're going to move on to number 3. The Colts looked blank under Jeff Saturday.
All right, I'm going to fill in that blank.
Okay.
Say energized,
Okay,
energized, and unified.
Yeah, I like that. Energized, unified, and I think they were confident as well. They went out there. They had a little bit of mission. You saw the coaches in the press box. You saw the players after the game. There was some juice in that organization.
They looked like an actual NFL team, which I didn't expect after Monday. I didn't know what to expect. It was the craziest development I can ever remember in season for a team to inflict on itself, and they turn it around and they win the game.
They got the win. Victory Monday. Okay, I still believe in what? I still believe in Santa Claus. What do you guys
I still believe in old quarterbacks.
Okay.
You got Aaron Rodgers today. You got Tom Brady, and you got Matt Ryan. Somehow Matt Ryan is back on the field. Somehow, after Frank Reich said Sam Ehlinger will be the starter for the rest of the season. I don't think Frank Reich meant for the rest of my season. And now he's back, and they get the win. They're 4-5-1.
That was a good one.
They're right in the middle of things. I still believe in running the ball and playing defense. I know it's probably old-fashioned, but you're seeing some of these teams that running it well in key spots and playing defense.
I still believe in the Buffalo Bills and their quarterback, Josh Allen. They've had a couple hiccups here where it's gone kind of awry at the end of these ball games, but he is a big-time player, and they're a complete team, and they're going to be there at the end of this thing.
I have a feeling the Bills fans needed to hear that, so thank you, Jason, for closing out our Week 10 recap with a little hope and love for the Buffalo Bills. We will see you for Week 11. Thanks so much for tuning in, and Florio, come back and see us again.
I may have to.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.